Hello Virgo, thank you for joining us. This is Rosemary coming to you from ANSARA Angels Ave. This Angelscope is for both Virgo Sun and Virgo Moon. These are your November 2014 Christian Angel answers from your Virgo Angel Hamaliel, who resides over mutable Earth. Virgo leaves behind with exciting new expectations, bound to come true hoping. Jack Frost, Rudolph, Dasher, Prancer, Vixen, Comet Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen would look nice in the front yard this year, taking full advantage of the power and glamour of the Beaver Moon on the 6th of the month of November. Busy little beavers are building their dams up in the extreme regions with much anticipation of the freezing slush soon to turn to ice. So please walk and journey carefully, Virgo. Before we continue, we just wanted to say that we have something that we're doing now where we can answer some of your questions on air. We have a lottery where we draw from the lottery each month. And some other people who sent them in have had their questions answered. People who we have established a rapport with, either with email readings, who've attended the seminars, or who we've done other types of readings in person or phone readings. So these people that we've established rapport with, again, we've been able in some of the other signs this month, been able to answer some of their questions that they sent in via email to Rosemary at readingsbyrosemary.com. Now, we didn't get many from some of the other signs, and we didn't get a lot from Earth signs. Well, Capricorn we got a lot. We didn't get any from Taurus or Virgo. So, if you want to send in, Virgo, some kind of question you may have, again, it needs to be a reasonable question. You need to establish rapport, and it's not for sure because it will go into a lottery. But so far, Virgos and Taurus don't seem to utilize the service much, so your odds of winning are very high to get your question answered. So, go ahead if you like and send in your question. We can put it into the lottery for next month, for December. Get like a Christmas present. Now, just wanted to let you know that was available to you. Okay. Now, moving right along, we want to go ahead and continue back with the transmission from Hamaliel, because these transmissions are first gotten from angelic script, and then they go into, we transliterate them into English, and then we try to put it in some kind of form that makes some kind of sense. And we also put some spirit information from like Native American tradition, or whatever kind of earthy tradition, because it kind of calms down the angelic energies, which just really sometimes are a bit much. It kind of calms it down. So that's why sometimes we utilize, especially this month, we really had to utilize back and forth the angelic and the Native American traditions. So, again, just journey very carefully in November. Maybe a better word to use than carefully, because careful gives a connotation of fear. So perhaps instead of using the word careful, one should use the word mindful. And then people are not fearful, but yet they're still in the moment, rather than paying attention and being nervous and concentrating in a way that just makes things bad and fretting. A better way to do it would be to be mindful, be in the present moment, and then, you know, nothing can hurt you because you know that everything that's going on is for your highest good. And we'll get into a little bit more of that too as we go on through this transmission from Hamaliel. Okay, now Native Americans, true to their autumn rituals, set beaver traps in the 11th month, marked by the Latin word revealing the true secret number of this month, which is 9, like novena, as you all know. Secrets abound and unfold. with the Virgin forever seeking, which is correct, however, 9 or 11 for this month, thinking that it might have something to do with luck and that kind of thing. Secrets abound and unfold, but the Virgin forever seeking, the bicameral nature of these two numbers. Because when we have two numbers, we have seeking behavior, like two poles, like a cathode and an anode, with a positive and negative pole, and a resistor in the middle. Something has to have two poles to bounce off of, from kether to chokmah, from the point to the line, for movement to come into the equation. This is what's necessary. And then when it starts to seek in this manner, we have a trinary situation, and we have a plane of existence. And this is how we go in, into creation. Now, how do we make sense of this? Okay, you have like twin towers, which are not exactly equal. We have the sun and the moon, which are not exactly equal. We have Joachim and Boaz, which is not exactly equal. Gold and silver, which is not exactly equal. It's like a Romeo and Juliet story. You look at Illuminati Matrix.org and find a lot of this information. It's very informative. But truly, without the metric system and the system of measuring of the king's foot to create the system where we use 12 instead of 10, without is it this or is it that? Which is it? Without a double mind, there can really be no life. Without some lack of understanding and some seeking, as Dr. Michael Lightman says, it's when you don't understand that you're actually there in a spiritual resonance. It's not really in the aha moments. We love the aha moments. And the coincidences, of course, coincidences exist, so there wouldn't be such a word. But what Tony Kozenak was trying to say is that coincidences mean that we are all one and we're all experiencing the same thing. So how do we stay sane when the coincidences, as Ian Lungold said was going to happen, that we would all become angels by now, which happened in 2010, in October? He was right. Then how do we not go crazy? We go crazy by understanding that, yes, there are coincidences, and yes, it does mean something, but yes, it means something for everyone, and it's okay if we all love each other. Everybody wants to be special. And this is where the three Taoist cauldrons of the Tao come into play, the Taoist alchemy cauldrons of the belly and the heart and the mind. This is where the Aleph and the Shin and the Mem, the mother letters, come into play. This is where we have to understand that Ta Han Shohan lives in the belly of the earth, and Yahweh lives in the heart of the galaxy, and Jesus Christ lives, the Christos, the Krishna, the Christos lives in the mind or the pineal of the universe. That's why Jesus Christ is the King of the universe. That's why we have complete silence in the belly, just in between the silence and the sound. We have a seed, and then we have Yod He Vav He coming with the fire in the darkness, the Tetragrammaton. Then we have the Yod He Shin Vav He in the universal mind, adding the Shin to be the mediator between the parent and the children, the masculine and the feminine, the mediator between the positive and the negative, the neutron between the proton and the electron. You can look at Hari's mind. He has a lot of very interesting things that you can look that up on YouTube. And look that up. He has a lot of writings that are very, very helpful. Now, he goes into Kailash and the higher chakras, the pineal or the crown chakra of the earth. People can argue about whether it's a pineal pituitary. The moment, who cares? It's the crown chakra, Kailash. Okay. And I believe the lower chakra is in Peru. I think it's some kind of valley and a lake of some kind. Now, back to Hamaliel's transmission. As we seek, ever seeking between these two numbers and the double mind of the bicameral universe where the essence of the soul resides within the black hole of time. This information cannot be lost no matter what Hawking says about the matter, and is ever spewed from a circulating, swarming, luminous light temporarily chained within the depths of darkness at the center of the galaxy. The center of the universe is where there is found the true God, who is the prime consciousness and prime light. We are all shards sprung from when this world soul was shattered. As we bring this world soul back together again, we become God again, not in ourselves, but rather in our relationship to each other, our communion, our common miracles, bestowing ever gifting from a limitless light. Let there be light, fiat lux. Here is found the light in the barren womb of the stony tomb of Lilith. Here is the spark of light formed cleanly and sternly into an entire new being. It happens in death. And this season in November is sort of when that death occurs, and where this, the secret of resurrection is found. Resurrection of the body and the soul. Now what we did was we interjected here, we injected a little bit of, to bring down the energy, some Native American teachings. Now is the time for capturing beavers. In the spark, and in the spark, see it keeps going back to the light. Just try to bring it down again. Now is the time for capturing beavers in the sturdy traps before the wetlands freeze over. After all, Virgo, we must get our winter furs supplied before the chill sets into the trunks of the mighty austere trees, hungering to be chopped down for Christmas festivities. You need to get a proper tree this year, one that's been, chopped down, not a fake tree, but a proper real tree, because that's what these trees are for. And this is sort of the Cain experience, that gives you intelligence and also gives you possessions in the physical world. Whereas sort of the Thanksgiving experience where turkeys are being killed and that kind of thing, this is where you have sort of a Abel sacrifice, which gives you the heart chakra. Probably the same thing at the whatever is being slaughtered for Christmas festivities, no matter what that may be. Now, prime creator exalts the planet Mercury is very important in November, and the Virgin will feel the effects of Gemini, the twins, and your own constellation of Virgo, the Virgin, influencing your mental capabilities over the birth of the Sun from the house of Libra, bearing its seed, bringing to fruition the 13th runestone seed Iwas within the house of Scorpio. The runestone of Iwas brings the luck of the princess trapped in the castle of the king for the making of the golden thread from simple straw. This luck penetrates through the portal of the green sun of Vril, remembering the Yggdrasil seed of the world tree genetic code, showing the force of unity of life and death, held in the clutches of the sharpened claws of Lilith. Though sure of eye and hand, Land's arrows shot from bow, into the very throat of the game board, where sights are lovingly set, for we must love our prey if we are to capture it for our sacrifice at the Mabon feast. This is what Thanksgiving is. When the pilgrims brought, this gift to the Native American Indians, and the Native American Indians brought their gift of the corn and the sacrifice to that feast. That's where we have Cain and Abel. We have the Native Americans bringing their maize, being Cain, because they have much scientific understanding. They have much ability to construct musical instruments, and they know how to craft things with their hands. And then we have the pilgrims who have faith in God and are bringing their faith through the Abel experience, bringing something that they've slaughtered. And then both have the other, and then there can be a mixing. This mixing has been going on for quite a while, obviously. Okay. When cultures collide and share. Even in a desolate, frozen wasteland, the strapping and sharp can hunt and bring to final intention any game allowing family and kin to feast the delight of the 8th runestone seed of Wunjo, where the virgin's happiness is again found in great statistics and irresistible crowds. Love matters come apart for those not prepared with bounty for family, lovers, and acquaintances alike. So people, want a lot from you this month. So give to those you're close to. It's very important. The spirit of sharing and sharing alike in November are unsuspecting victims of second guessing. We're all guilty of that, second guessing, due to the aforementioned, why? Exaltation of the planet Mercury, giving rise to logic over desire and even-handedness over selection. So the planet Mercury, you need to find out where your Mercury resides, what house it resides in, and where the planet Mercury of your target resides in order to really understand where their mind is in November. It's going to be very important because Mercury is exalted this month. Would-be lovers and saviors are seeking much advice in November from those who can see clearly through the storm, finding a way through and out of calamitous circumstance and shameful situations. Luck is made available by the gods, and the mighty Zeus releases Poseidon from his watery dungeon, bidding Hades to release the bulls of the house of Taurus, cleansed by the fires of 7 months past. The mighty seed of the rune stone Behu races forward and charges the virgin in a turbulent stampede of like-minded class. So, because of a lot of liquidation of assets, there's going to be quite a stampede towards, especially earth signs in November. So just tell everybody to wait their turn. Opportunity is knocking, and there is always a way through the storm clouds, bring steadily from the fires of warfare and the promise of luxury and making a name for oneself and glory and all of that comes with war, and just feeling good that we're overcoming someone else and we're pounding someone else and we can hurt them, they can't hurt us. This makes people feel good about business. This makes people feel good about buying and selling property. So, this is why these things happen. So it'd be better, of course, if we could do it in a gaming fashion, either in sports or in some kind of computer gaming, so that people don't have to actually get hurt. November is a good time to remember that although money can buy the accoutrements of love, it cannot buy the thing in and of itself, for it is attained with deed and cooperation, buttressed by much friendship, camaraderie, and eons of time. Now, the virgin is ever the bachelor, but also knows how important it is to have things done properly. So, basically, the bachelor tendencies of the virgin. You know, this thing where marriage is just a piece of paper. Well, so is the deed to your house and the ownership of your car. Because if someone doesn't have the purpose of really bonding with you, forget about it. The virgin may think that it is essential to have choice of loves, always and eternally, leading to much autonomy and cheerfulness. You will find quite the contrary to be true nevertheless, Virgo. If true love is what you need, then you must make the choice you know will bring you just that. All things are born of their variety. So, whatever you are choosing will bring you exactly that choice, nothing more and nothing less. People are what they are, obviously, and although some wiggle room, however, is available and found in all life when exposed to enough light. Systems are set into place very early on in life, as you have often stated, Virgo. By the time you're 3, you got 80% of your personality. By the time you're 8, you got 95%. By the time you're 12, you got 100%. Money matters prove to be hard to define. Not hard, but hard to define in November, Virgo, due to new sources of income never before imagined. New sources of income is what Hamaliel is saying. The Virgin is just overworked, as usual, this month when it comes to money and endowment matters. Business as usual is always preferable, but new ideas and new ways of doing things undermine the will of those who want things the way they used to be. That's not going to happen. We're in the age of Aquarius now. That's not going to happen. Things aren't going to be the way they used to be. It's just not going to happen. They're going to be a new way. It's a brave new world, and where justice and compassion find their way back into the grand scheme of things, this is where it's going to get a little confusing, but if you listen to this part, it'll make sense. What Hamaliel says here is, it's no longer a world run by the enablers, but is a new form of the old world where an eye costs an eye and a tooth costs a tooth for all beings. There is no longer a need to sacrifice the innocent. Did that ever make sense? As was so popular in the age of Pisces, now in the age of Aquarius, it's quite a different matter indeed. There no longer is a need to sacrifice the innocent. The new eon, now firmly in place, calls in the sacrifice of the guilty. For why should the innocent lambs, like Jesus, be sacrificed? Should not Judas Iscariot be held responsible instead for his sedition and treachery? They say, no one says life is fair. But Virgo holds a different and more pragmatic opinion. Life should be fair, and it will be if I have anything to add to the mix. Over the ages, human persons have tried to make some sense of things. They have attempted to overstand each other's behavioral attitudes, modifying the patterns to the end of commerce devoid of love. All other creatures in the universe and the land of Nod, created by the Prime Exaltrix, in cooperation with the Prime Exalter, are prone to the irrational behavior of love, which, of course, has no logic put to it. Rather, this is an overrun plagued by pathological symptoms of ludicrous gropings in the vain attempt to reach a higher state of mind, as well as body. The amorphous bodies are unwilling and unable to reach states of abundant altars due to their inability to congeal into the alchemical wedding of spirit and matter. We're trying to get spirit completely infused with matter so that these real miracles that were seen every time we have these massive avatar, times, the crux of these millennia. This is what we're really looking for, these types of miracles which are now happening and are going to increase. When those who do business are lucid and clear-intentioned, complete cohesiveness between you and your money, yourself and your business, your intention and your reality become one and the same, where the Virgin's work is in constant similitude with the martial aspects of a ferocious intellect. Get into J.J. Hurtak's books and the Keys of Enoch. It'll really put a lot of important light into your mind and allow the brain to start using areas that have not before been used. You want to use 100% of your brain? Read that. The fervent, unstoppable will, continuing with Gamaliel's transmission, meets the immovable object of trade and barter, carving out a piece of mind stuff in a cookie-cutter fashion that is just the right size and shape for your vessel of intention to bring you the most perfect and delightful answer to your dreams, Virgo. This brings us to the rune stone seed of Sowilo, that again is going in the exact opposite direction you would normally have it proceed. This is due to a just ignore it milieu plus slow observation equals patient rewards equation used by the Virgin to study the behavior of all creatures, then employing a subsequent attempt to absorb the proverbial bullet, so that both the strength of the Virgin and those cared for are secure. You're trying to protect those you care for, obviously. This is quite necessary to forego any conclusions that the will here discussed is in any way malleable to anything other than planetary influences set in constant motion by the higher powers of Prime Creatrix and Prime Creator, who exist in the shadow of Prime Exalter and Prime Exaltrix. You see how these angel transmissions get very high amounts of light coming into the different brain structures. So we need to drink plenty of water. Health matters are restorative and gratifying for the Virgin in November. The runestone seed number 1 of Fehu rushes towards the allocation of newfound freedom bestowed from the reserves of biotech. We love biotech. Ready for those who would grab the holographic ring of transhumanism. You know, in the 80s, I saw one time in a shop a watch that had a pyramid that was a hologram. And you could go like that, and it acted just exactly like a hologram. And it was wonderful. I should have bought it. And also at that same time, in the 80s, this, a lot of these same feeling of new technology was coming through. Kind of right there again, sort of at that, in the 60s and 80s have a certain ambiance, and then probably coming to full fruition in 2020. But anyway, the where the 90s have sort of a more harsh reality, sort of, So we have these different times or these different realities, but and they all start to time all comes together, because there's no such thing as time. It all kind of comes together and merges right now, right here. So this goes into the next part of Gamaliel's transmission. If Virgin America Airlines can fly the upper echelons to the moon and beyond, and they do, then why not give those who remain on planet a new toy such as holographic entertainment, what we just discussed? Because it's there. It just needs to be made affordable, and it kind of has. So now that's what's coming through. And that's why everybody feels like this. That's why everybody's, because everybody feels something's coming at them, because we're letting holograms, holographic technologies be starting to come through. So you're going to be able to have your favorite, TV personalities and movie personalities and all these people come right, into your existence, because they're going to come through holograms. And we're all going to be able to get that eventually. So that's why everybody feels a little, I don't know if defensive is the word, but yeah, a little defensive. And that's we're being ready for these technologies, which in reality will make us far more happy, so we can have a holodeck experiences that, like in, Star Trek and those kind of things. And that's all true. I knew it was true. Okay, so we've talked about the holograms and the holographic entertainment. By the same token, physicians can now begin to rival nature by mimicking her so well. Those in need of true healing of body and brain can do just that and have just that. Miracles can be attained by simple, unrelenting faith in divine providence, or it can be gotten by the provisions of the mind of man. Humans have come to earth to combine the DNA of Cain and Abel, to deliver a new faith and religion to mankind, or to humankind, where both consciousness called soul, this is important, consciousness called soul, and purpose called spirit, is found infused inseparably into matter, granting immortality to those who desire and merit such a state of being. Who desire it, you merit. Now, make your consciousness always purposeful towards the purpose of the divine creator, which is to bestow. Just set your purpose to that. Because if you have no purpose, then then that's where death is brought back into the equation. So, before we just end here, before we exit this transmission, we want to say that if someone is choosing cremation, like the Greek heroes, Achilles, and like the Viking heroes, they reincarnate. The reincarnating ego comes into its next life as quite a glorious person, with much, just a lot of glory is theirs, a lot of enjoyment of life is theirs, which they deserve when they're choosing that. They can choose that for as long as they like, forever if they like. Annihilation is a little bit harder. Eventually you'll wake up. But people who allow the complete corruption of the body to suck out all the corruption out of the soul, those people don't reincarnate. They kind of go on to another dimension and live there. And they leave their corruption here. That's why they mummify people. They leave their corruption here. And then they have their immortal, glorified bodies in the world to come, in heaven. Sort of, if that makes any sense, if they can deal with that, knowing that corruption is there. A lot of times they say that the elite like to, have all this, look at all this corrupt stuff. And what's the purpose of that? That's the purpose of it. Because if they can deal with it, then they can have their immortal, and then they simultaneously can have those two existences, which at times, I suppose, becomes difficult. But in those times, one has to really know one's purpose and stick to spirit. That's the transmission coming that I didn't write down, but it's coming through right now from Himalaya that I hadn't wrote down before. So, a little water. Now, before we give you our usual ending, we wanted to say that we love Fructus Sleek and Shine Anti-Frizz Serum. And we love Gardener's Fructus Marvelous Oil Frizz Defy. And we love Gardener's Fructus Sleek and Shine Moroccan Sleek. And we're still using the honey Tio Nacho from Mexico shampoo. That is very helpful. And then we use these products afterwards. And some other fructus products. That's one thing we wanted to share. Okay, so to end this, okay, now Tamaliel is letting energy relax now. Enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday seasonal dinners and events Virgo usually is too busy to attend. Enjoy the turkey, mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce. And don't forget the pumpkin pie for your health, vitality, vim, and vigor. Be wise, be well, be all you are meant to be, Virgo. Your divine tone of eye analyze pulls in more passion via that creative brain of yours in November. Thank you for joining us, Virgo, and join us again next month.